Hey guys, welcome back to the Independent Investor Channel. Guys, look, if you were looking to learn how to drive heavy equipment, wouldn't it be nice to learn from somebody who actually drove heavy equipment or drove a truck, or somebody who maybe knows accountant or knows how to look at fine jewelry perhaps, right? If you're looking to learn something from somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, you definitely want to gravitate to somebody that actually does it for a living and actually can speak in-depthly about the subject that they're talking about. Guys, these are very special videos where I actually kind of take you in and show you a snapshot of how, where the rubber meets the road, it reflects in my particular personal portfolio. And I'm going to be very careful in how I do this, right? But I'm going to be as explicit as I can with you guys and as descriptive as I can in really kind of showing you guys how it is I tend to break down my sector exposure in my particular portfolio. What I aim to do is give you a listing of my actual holdings and probably give you the share amount. If you guys are curious to the dollar amount, which I'm really not, and a lot of people are when they start investing, they focus nothing more on just the dollars and cents of the account. I'm actually more interested in the plan and the building of those shares in that particular portfolio, but you guys can knock yourself out if you want to go look at the dollar amount. I don't really care so much, but I really do care about being transparent with you guys and talking about self-directed investing and how it reflects in my own life. Now, I've said many times, no portfolio has to be the same. I just offer this as kind of a testimonial on how I go about kind of walking the walk, all right? This is all about just showing you guys what it is that I not only talk about on the Independent Investor Channel, but it's what I actually do on the Independent Investor Channel. And it actually kind of shows you guys how I've built my portfolio up over the years and how we've evolved to get to a point with where we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop you into my account right now, and I'm going to kind of walk you through the account a little bit. I'm going to be showing you guys a reports function, and that way I can kind of walk you through a little bit more specifically what you guys see here on the screen within my Merrill Edge account, guys. So without further ado, I'm going to kick you into the account there. Please enjoy, guys. This is a very special video of my portfolio makeup, guys. I hope you enjoy. So when I end up doing a portfolio review for you guys, I would think that it would be really interesting to kind of see how I've got my holdings allocated. And what that basically means is how much dollar amount do I have in each of the sectors that I invest in, and what percentage of those dollars is representative of my total overall portfolio. So I just thought I would take a screenshot of this page right here just to kind of give you guys an idea of what I've got. For example, starting with healthcare, about 3% of my portfolio, I've got about $5,000 in healthcare. And then I've got consumer staples, that takes up about 10% of my portfolio, about $16,000 over there. And you can just kind of follow along here. You can kind of see I'm a little bit overweight technology. That's by choice. I've got close to $40,000 in the technology sector. Now keep in mind this is spanned across multiple stocks. I think I've probably got 5 or 6 holdings in technology. As you guys will see when I actually show you guys, you're just looking to get started in the stock market. Perhaps maybe you're new to the channel. You really have to understand that this is possible for anybody to achieve and also to overachieve. I mean, this is something that I've built up. I'm about 40 years old right now, and I've built this portfolio up, you know, over about 20 years of investing, but I've only self-directed investing, invested for about 7 years, I guess now. So for some of you guys that I'm talking to you that are kind of in their early 20s, and you've already taken the proactive steps to get started, maybe in a Roth IRA, but you failed to understand that there's a difference between a managed situation and a self-directed situation. This is just indicative of what you can achieve, guys. So as you kind of work down here, discretionary and staples, really both have kind of got crushed. But I'm about 10.5% exposure, 17,000, 18,000 in exposure here. I'm definitely underweight industrials right now. not necessarily by choice, but you can't own all of them. And then you work down here, materials at 2%, financials, I'm underweight, telecom, I'm a little bit overweight at 4% there with around 7,000 in allocation. Utilities, I hold most of my utilities holdings in two different holdings. I've got Dominion Energy and I've got the Vanguard's Utility ETF. And then I've got energy at about $12,200 at about 8% of my portfolio. Real estate, I've got 2 holdings in real estate, both American Tower and Simon Property Group. Those are 2 stocks that I've recommended. And then what I've got down here, this is kind of a start of my transition to becoming 50% passive in my portfolio. And eventually I'd really like to get this up to in between 50 and 75% of my portfolio. You know, right now it's 23, so I've got some work to do with new contributions, but it doesn't have to happen overnight. And so you can kind of see here that these are my equities blend. So that's going to be, you know, my ETFs, the ETFs that I recommend to you guys all the time, which is VOO and VTI, and then I've got that ETF that I was telling you about, the utilities ETF as well. That's what's comprised here in this equity blend portion. So you can kind of see here on these top end equities inside the portfolio, we're looking at 165,825 in total holdings there. For the percentage of allocation. So now I'm going to click over and show you guys what I've actually got in my individual holdings. So stand by. So this is the fun part. It's amazing, in the midst of all this volatility going on right now in the stock market, I was able to actually add some companies that I had wanted to invest in for quite some time. Some old school blue chip companies and also some aggressive growth companies. I actually threw in a fairly aggressive drilling company. I'll get to that. But just to kind of show you guys what I've got here for my stock portfolio, starting with Google. And this is a company that I am long on. I have bought it for the long term. I was tired of not being a participant in Google. I've got 11 shares. You guys can kind of see this here. I don't need to regurgitate what I've got. The whole idea of providing you guys a snapshot is in line with my goal of providing a testimonial to you guys about what is actually possible in the stock market. I say all the time that no portfolios need to be the same. So I would charge you guys with kind of looking at my portfolio and saying, okay, you know, I can see what maybe he did here, but I don't like this holding. Maybe I would have gone another route. And that's the cool thing about investing. And that's what I think a lot of the times when people are hitting me up and saying, Ryan, you're invested in this, you should have went here. I really think that you can win with good quality companies over the long term if the fundamental premise of having the right account is started and making sure that that correct account is a self-directed one. I really think you guys really need to acknowledge the importance of all 3 aspects of portfolio building. And not just focus on what I feel like a lot of people are really stuck in the rut focusing in on. So you can kind of go down the list here. I did my percentage of allocation for you guys, but this is actually kind of breaking it down for you guys to show that the rating that I use, of course the ticker symbol, you guys can have that for your reference, that's fine. But then to kind of come over here and you can see these fractional shares here. This is when dividends are paid and they basically roll right back into the stock. So you can kind of see here some of my new holdings that I've just currently taken. They haven't paid out dividends just yet, but you can kind of see here some of my other holdings that I've got positions in. And then of course, you know, the price per share now had a pretty good adjustment back in my portfolio. It was really on fire all the way into January of 2018. Taken a little bit of a step back, been pretty aggressive on leaving it alone, but I've added a few of these positions that I've talked about here in the portfolio. And then over here to the right, you can actually see what the percentage of these individual names are in relation to my overall portfolio holdings. So that's kind of interesting. You can kind of see here that, you know, I really try to keep these single stocks, you know, around 3 to 4% of the total overall holdings. But you can kind of see here some of the method to my madness here. I've got 4.52 in Amazon. I actually just put a 5-share position on it, guys. I'm long all these stocks, actually. I don't think there's any trading positions really to brag about here in the portfolio. But you guys can kind of scan this at your leisure. Certainly, you can freeze the video if you want more information on this screenshot that I'm providing to you guys. But that's the screenshot number 1 of my portfolio, and you guys can kind of work down this at your leisure and kind of see what I've got for my portfolio holdings. This is right out of my account, to screenshot right out of my portfolio to kind of give you guys an idea of what type of investor I am and what types of stocks that I look at. So I'm going to kick over and give you guys the other holdings page and do a snapshot over there. So stand by. So this is the final block of stocks and ETFs that I own within the account, just to kind of finish it out for you guys. Again, I just take screenshots of these, obviously to protect some of the information that I don't need out. But as far as what I'm kind of giving you guys is just to show my specific holdings within my portfolio. This is what I've got. Really no secret. And then the quantity of each over here, the current price, current market value, and then the current percentage of the overall portfolio. So you guys can kind of see here right now a combination of the Vanguard's total stock market index, or stock market ETF that I've got in VTI. That's about 10% of the overall portfolio. And then I've got VOO, which is about 12.5% of the total overall. I've got 125 shares of the Vanguard Total Market VTI, and then 90 shares of the VOO. So those are my 2 passive flagship accounts, and I kind of talk to you guys all the time about not owning too many ETFs, right? You start to kind of overlap in the diversification of those products, and I kind of find that it's a little bit redundant, and I think you could probably be a little bit better served to go ahead and pick your favorite. These are my 2 favorites. Certainly don't have to be yours. I bought into them because they were the lowest expense, and I felt like they were the best flagship representatives of the indexes that I wanted exposure to from Vanguard. Now these are split between 2 accounts. I'm giving you guys the perspectives of the holdings as if they were held in one, but they are not. They are split into 2 specific Roth IRAs, both self-directed. And then down here at the bottom, I've got my holdings in Blackstone Group, which is my big dividend payer. It's the only limited partnership I had. I did sell out of Venom, and so for you guys that took me up on that recommendation, I'm glad you did. You guys made money on that. Blackstone really hasn't done a lot since I've invested in it, except for pay me a nice dividend every quarter. And I'm glad to own the partnership. I'm fine. Again, I own this kind of in place of, instead of owning a bond fund, I own the limited partnership. Only $5,000 there, only 3% of my total overall holdings, but it's one of those stocks that I don't mind owning for the long term. So that rounds out my portfolio holdings, guys. So I hope you enjoy. I'm going to kick you back over to the YouTube platform. This is it, guys. And the reason why I do these videos is to kind of prove what's possible to you. I know a lot of folks out there, you know, they go in and they'll sit down with a financial planner and they'll listen to a lot of great talk. But I think this is really a lot more beneficial for people to kind of really look at. And if you're seeing this, you know, you should be sitting back and saying, wow, you know, I can do this. And I'm the first to tell you that you absolutely can. What I don't declare to you guys is the amount of accessible cash that I have, actually. That's a good significant portion of my portfolio right now. I think it's around 40% of my portfolio is actually just held in cash. So what I went ahead and give you guys is the dollar amount of the holdings, and I didn't show you that the $80,000 of cash is just held on the side as liquid. That's the sleep easy money that I talk about all the time. On the side that I've just built up over time. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Certainly if you've got comments, I want to hear them on this video. You guys have been asking for this portfolio breakdown, and certainly hopefully this generates some conversation, but also provides some validation to you guys as to what's possible as a self-directed investor, because make no mistake about it, I've built this up over time by myself. And you know, if I could have avoided some of the mistakes that I talk about and got started earlier, you guys would be looking at probably a portfolio that's 4 times the amount of the one that I'm showing you. But that's what I've got. When right, wrong, or indifferent, that's what we've built up to. So I'll kick you back over to YouTube, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the portfolio review, and we'll kick you back over to YouTube. Thank you. Okay, guys, so we've just come back out of my portfolio review. I hope you've enjoyed it, guys. Again, the reason why I offer this to you guys is really just to provide kind of a testimonial. It's really kind of interesting. It can really ground truth a lot of what I talk about on the channel, what I do with certain stocks, why I'm long on certain stocks, and why I'm actually in a few trading positions in a few of my stocks. You know, how I go ahead and strategically allocate my money within my portfolio, guys. And again, it shouldn't be one of those things to where you look at and you try to mimic a portfolio like this overnight. This has taken me years and a lot of hard-earned dollars to build up this portfolio the way that you see it here on the screen, but I thought it was worth it to kind of provide you guys a testimonial. I think they're really interesting to kind of see how others strategically build their accounts out, why they do certain things and why they don't do other certain things. So really, I hope you guys enjoyed this message, guys. If it's your first time tuning in to the Independent Investor channel, I highly encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel. You guys need to share this message out there with anybody that you know looking to get involved in the stock market. We can start this portfolio building together, and it doesn't matter how much experience you have in the stock market. It does not matter how much investment capital you have. We have advice for you guys to kind of get you started and get you started on the road to financial future. And the key to that is to get started correctly. All right. So many people are enthusiastic about starting in the stock market. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they start incorrectly, and it's really, really hard to right a ship after it's been wronged initially. And really what I'd like to kind of do for you guys is start you off on that right path to get you started in the stock market correctly. Guys, leave your comments at the bottom of the video if you guys have any problems with the stocks that I offer. That would be really cool. We can engage in some dialogue. You guys can talk me off my horse, or talk me onto the horse on some of your guys' stock picks that you've got for me. Absolutely. Share the message out there with anybody that you know, guys. And as always, guys, good luck in your investment future.